Yes, yes, yes. Here we go, Chris. Here we go. We
Yo,
are
yo.
officially live. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unabashed Truth Podcast. You're here with your boy GT Davis and my good friend Scalp. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
All right.
Actually, they call me Long Hog now, so we'll get to that later.
We'll get into that later. Yes.
But I'm doing
So,
well.
doing well. It's great, man. How was your week been, man? It's been crazy, or
It's been crazy, man. I popped the hip out and it hasn't gone back in yet, but I'm still drinking. So we good. We good. We good.
we good?
How's your week, man?
It was good, man. It was good, man. Just plugging through, working, man, making some money. That's about it.
Mm.
So yeah, man. But so man, we've been a long week. We've been recording, doing some crazy thing. Our first actual live Twitch video here, so, which is great. So we're going to go through it and have a little fun with it. So man, I hope you guys all out there will enjoy this and enjoy what we're trying to do, man.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So on this week, episode 8, we're 8 episodes in, man. It's pretty cool. We're gonna reopen our discussion on what was that? We're gonna reopen our discussion on cancel culture because obviously over the past few weeks we actually had, I guess, on your end, somebody reach out to you, man. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I think our last podcast or the podcast before last was about Richard Schmidt. And it was that terrorist and Bowling Green. But yeah, I got some hate mail, man. I feel like I just lost the NCAA tournament game.
Man, we'll get into that one also, man. That was crazy. What was your hate mail about? What did he say?
I can't even say it right now. Keep going. We'll get to that because it was too ridiculous.
It was too ridiculous. So yeah.
I mean, he tried to like say that I was trying so hard to be black that I forget what skin color I was born into, and he has no idea about anything, right? So and I don't even know if this guy is like Muslim. I don't know. I don't care. But I thought it was
Yeah.
kind of funny because we weren't trying to like call this guy a terrorist. That's my mom right there.
Yeah.
But hi, mom.
Hello, Ma. How you doing?
Um, yeah, she's singing Robin Thicke.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was just funny.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we'll get into that a little more. But yeah, what we talked about last time we talked about cancel culture was we did something a little different than most people that have been talking about it recently. We actually we talked about a little bit nowadays things, which is oh yeah, so what's happened today? But we actually went back in history and we started talking about how cancel culture existed since the beginning of time, really, but in recent times, since in America, at least since the Native Americans and the first colonizers came over and started taking over shit in this country. So that
Yeah.
was the first iteration of cancel culture in America as we know it. And then we kind of migrated to all the way to now. So man,
Yeah.
it was a great discussion. If you want to listen to it, it's episode 6 of the podcast. So man, we got or actually no, episode 7 last week. So
Yes.
yeah, it was last week, man. It was
Get
very
it
recent.
straight.
So I had to get it right. I'm kind of getting my episodes mixed up, but
Yeah.
did that. So
It's that chocolate wine is what it is.
so in this time we're gonna go back into cancel culture. We're gonna, I guess, start where we end it, kind of going back through the history. So let's start in the most recent, I guess, decade of cancel culture. I won't go to the modern stuff. I'll start in the 80s. And this is where we didn't touch on this a little bit, but we go to the 80s when there was, I guess, the cocaine epidemic came in. And so when we talk about Black culture in America today and how it's been kind of changing over time and how it's got to get taken over, it kind of starts then, that
Yeah.
80s crack epidemic. And that's where it's kind of almost, quote unquote, the government throwing something in there and saying, hey, let's get rid of this culture this way. If we can
Right.
get them on drugs, we can get them on these systematic things that'll
The
mess with
FDR,
their
man.
community. Yeah, man. So that's what they kind of did. So
Yeah.
I feel like that was a form of cancel culture that was different.
Yes.
And we still have the effects going on today of that also.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the cancel culture shit is so goddamn deep, and so many people have suffered because of it. But so many people, if you think about it, has gained from it that it continues, man. You know, I mean, it's like what you did, dog. Like you used to sell buses, you used to sell businesses on Going Green. Like we're tired of this fucking fuel fucking up our economy, fucking up our goddamn
Yeah.
wallets, fucking up our goddamn, politics. Like this oil shit is crazy. This gasoline prices are crazy. We
Yeah,
know we
man.
can do better, right?
Mhm.
Right? Go green, right?
It's true,
So at
man.
the end of the day, cancel culture is the same fucking shit. Same shit.
That is true, man. That is 100%
Same
true.
exact thing. You know, and it's just a fucking spiral effect. And I think where we've gotten from it, you want to cancel fucking Dr. Seuss, you want to cancel Gumby, go ahead and cancel them.
That's not a big deal. Yeah,
You
just
want
gotta
to
do
cancel
it.
Ninja Turtles. Before you do that, cancel Splinter.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cancel Splitter.
it's gotten to the point to where people just kind of look at it, man. And they're just like, what are you people worried about this shit for?
Yeah, pretty much.
And to people like us, we look at this shit like it's, you know, on some race shit, dog. We don't care about this shit.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
don't fucking care. You know,
Yeah,
those that
man.
do live in your own world, we'll be out here doing us and proceeding. You guys can stay back. You
Yeah.
guys can sit on the bench, right?
Hmm.
You can sit in the motherfucking shadows, keep canceling things that you think that is going to change your world. But that's the difference, man. I think this cancel culture shit, everybody wants to say, okay, get like me.
Yeah.
Did they make a song like that in the 2010s
Yeah,
or
man.
whatever?
Somewhere in
Get like me,
our history, yeah,
you
man. Get
know?
like me. Yeah.
Get like me. I mean, I don't want to be like you. When I was a
Yeah.
kid, being just as a fan of art,
Hmm.
like I wanted to hear rappers. I came from an era to where on some hip hop level shit, and even on some NBA shit, like
Yeah.
you had to be who you were. Sean Kemp was like nobody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean Kemp was a beast back in
Dominique
the
was
day.
like nobody else. Larry Bird was like no one else.
Yeah.
And that's how you got famous. Now you have to be like everybody else.
It's
And it's
true,
like
man.
we push out these outcasts now because the outcasts that finally have a voice wants to
Hmm.
push out. They become what they despise.
Yeah, that's true, man.
I just think it's pathetic, but you know, they have to protest in their own way. And I think social media has been a crazy platform for these people to kind of push their agenda and for the inclusion game to get people on board to actually make it happen.
Yeah, I got you.
Like it's crazy. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, man. That's kind of
It's
where we
getting
are in
crazier.
this world, man. It's not gonna get any better. I think it's
No.
going to get to the point where either governments got to do what they do in other countries, where the U.S. gonna be like, "Yo, we're shutting everything down. There's
Yeah.
no more of this, no more of that," because it's gonna
And not
people.
because of COVID.
Because people don't have to police themselves, and like I
Yes.
have always said, the biggest problem in the world is like there's so much dependence on loving your neighbor, as they say,
Yeah.
instead of respecting each other. Because
Right.
we're so dependent on like, oh, if I love you, it's okay, I can say this, but
Yeah.
and then like you don't respect me. Because
Exactly.
as respect, you understand that I grow. That if I make a
Yes.
mistake on 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that eventually we grow from that.
Right.
But my thing is, it's okay for the old KKK member to all of a sudden grow and get out of it. And everybody's like, oh, you're so great. You got better and you got
Yeah.
over it. We celebrate you. But if
Yeah.
someone else makes a mistake, we're like, oh, you didn't get better. You are always that mistake. So we're kind of double-edged swords on everything. We're
Yeah.
kind of saying it's okay for somebody who was militant and hate other people.
Understand my struggle.
Yeah.
But I can't understand when you went through it and made your fucking mistakes.
Yeah. You made your mistake. You said something at
We'll
the wrong
judge you
time.
because of that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the world is now. And I'm hoping through this and all this cancel culture, and we got media talking about a bunch of people who a lot of media sources are the worst people at it because they show the worst part of everybody's life and they keep playing it every day. And they wonder why people are like, oh, I can cancel this, get rid of this.
Yeah.
Because the media plays into it because it gives them clicks, it gets the people watching. Like you watch people talk about it, like, yeah, we talk about cancel culture.
Yeah.
But then instead of saying, yo, let's just stop being stupid about this, let people grow and be themselves, we're just gonna keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And we're gonna divide people amongst political lines and amongst race and amongst everything else. And that's where
and now stop until we get our agenda out there.
Pretty much, man. That is kind of how everything is. So I mean, we got a long way to go, but I hope that eventually it'll get to a place where everybody take a step back and say, hey, have I ever said anything wrong about somebody else in my life? Yes or no? Yes. Everybody has. Don't act like you haven't at home with your friends or man, even on a text message, whatever you may have done, you said stupid
And
shit.
see, real quick though,
Mhm.
we're not talking about cancel culture like it pertains to everything, because some shit in this motherfucking country needs to be canceled. Let's not forget that part either. But what we're talking about is the blasphemousness of this whole situation. You need to stop. GT, your audio's off.
No, I got you. Yeah,
Okay,
man,
now you on.
it's one of those things. Yeah, everything needs to kind of go away and kind of
Like,
find
you're
your way
right.
to get
Take a
over
step
everything.
back and realize what the fuck you're in the game anyway. Why are
Yeah,
you paying
man,
attention to this shit anyway to have a fucking opinion about
that's true, man.
it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna take your kid to a fucking, to the therapist, because you think he's not responding to you, or he's not responding to his teachers or his coaches. You
Mhm,
take your kid to a therapist. Just as a random example,
mhm.
and then you get to the point where your kid finally like opens up to the therapist and he won't open up to you, and you start judging the therapist.
Yeah.
Well, that bitch is probably giving him candy that I've never given him.
Oh yeah, and then they try to get the teacher fired and everything like
Right?
that. And teacher's like, wait, what?
Why are you getting yourself involved
It is true,
and
man.
just hating? That's all it
Yeah,
is. You're hating on
yeah.
shit.
That is the world we live in, man. That is
It is.
how everything is today. And I mean, I can only imagine going back to when we were in elementary school and before that, and having my mom would never go up to the school yell teacher unless it was something so ridiculous that she had to. If it was like,
Yes.
oh, I came home and said, oh, the teacher yelled at me, and mom was like, okay, what'd you do wrong?
Yeah.
What'd you fuck up with? Instead, now it's like, oh, teacher yelled at me. It's like, well, I'm gonna go tell the teacher how I feel about her. And no, no, no.
Yeah.
Like, well, what do you want
Because
them
you
to
feel
do?
you're entitled to it.
Yes, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
So,
that
man,
entitlement shit will fuck your shit up.
it's true, man. It is 100%
Lord have
true.
mercy.
So,
Let's
man, that's
cancel that shit.
yeah, pretty much, man. So yeah, when we go through this cancel culture thing, there was something I thought about over the past week, and just thinking about how
How to tell me.
when yeah, thinking about in my life how things have evolved and how, man, if I look back to when I was, oh, man, in my high school years, thinking about
Shit,
things
you
I
at
was
least
going
30.
through. Yeah, that's almost 20 years ago now, man. Going through those times and seeing
You
that.
going to the reunion? You taking me out?
No, I'm not
Need
going to
somebody to talk for you, don't
no,
you?
not
Go
going to no reunion.
ahead.
But like seeing how things have changed. I mean, if I go back to what I may have said to a friend in the locker room,
Yeah.
or how I may have obviously played sports in high school, that locker room is a bunch
Yeah.
of quote unquote guy talk. But shit was said, whether it be good or bad. I'm not going to repeat everything because I may have some people I played football with that listen to this one day and be like, what the fuck, man? You told everything. But like stuff was
Yeah.
said that if it came out today, people be like, what? You guys talk like that? It's like, yeah, man, it was part of the situation we were in.
Yeah.
But as we got older, when we changed, if I go through every iteration of my life, things have changed. And I think going to
Yeah.
college with and being in BG with around guys like you and our boy Joe and our friend Homer, all these dudes we were around all the time, and having those
Boney Bone.
conversations, and Bones and Schmidt and Smitty and all these people, was like, man, these people are all cool people that
Drew, man.
I learned from, I grew with,
Yeah.
and I was able to say stupid shit with them, but they're like, oh, don't say that because of this. Or
Yeah.
they felt that way. We both sit back like, that's not right, man. We should not
Right.
say that anymore. But it gave us a chance to grow and kind of learn, which
Yeah.
I think is something that needs to be done more and more now.
Yes. We had the discussion. And us personally, we probably had it too many fucking times to where we got tired of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it got to the point where we couldn't expect women to come around us anymore and want to be interested in our discussion because they weren't ready to have that conversation. Most of them weren't.
Yeah, man. Hold on. I'm doing some things here. So is everything all right, man?
Yeah, they're just out there drinking Miller Lights.
So what I'm doing now is I'm renaming some stuff here. But yeah, man. So those days I wish we have, and one day we will have our boys on a little bit more and they'll be able to talk about things. But
Yeah.
if you ever go through those conversations, sit there with us, you'll be amazed at what we were able to talk about, why we were able to talk that way, why we were able to get along and understand each other and have these open, crazy dialogues. We're like, yo,
and make like a board game out of it. Beernopoly.
We have many board games, random games you made up.
Football. We had the football game. I miss that era, man, because we didn't cancel each other out. We were more interested in who we were, and like we were undeveloped then compared to
Yeah.
what we are now. You know, it's just you got to hit one bump in the road before you hit another, right?
Yeah, that's true, man.
And I feel like all that shit was necessary. And I
Yeah.
had talked to Joe, another 802, originator. I had talked to
Yeah.
him one night, and he had said to me, he had said something to me like, you know what, Scout? He said, you got to get to the point, man, to where you gotta let shit just fall off your
Hmm.
shoulder. That was before that brush off your shoulder from Jay-Z. That was before all
Yeah.
that shit, GT.
Yeah.
I had a track phone, and it had probably cooler ringtones than what I had now on my shit. But I'll take one. Thank you. I got one in the freezer.
Yeah.
Um, but man, it's just thank you, sir. It got to a point, man, to where like we had the discussions a million times over, and we got tired of it because we all knew we didn't feel that way about each other.
Yeah.
But and the crazy thing was like, like people found out, for me, like it wasn't about, you know, I was trying to figure out what you were about so I could judge you. Like we all gravitated towards each other for a reason at the
Mhm.
beginning anyway.
Yeah.
And then the ones that stuck around for their own reasons. And the ones that still last 15, 20 years later, I truly believe that, is because we had those conversations.
Yeah.
Like when I first met you, dog, we didn't like each other.
Yeah.
We
Well,
canceled
not
we canceled each other out
wasn't
because
like
we
not like
thought,
each other. We said know each other.
right, but at this time, yeah, young and naive shit, I was like, we don't like each other. That's what
Yeah.
you thought at the beginning. And we had this conversation, 20 years ago, dog.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I don't think we knew you're right. We didn't know each other enough to understand the concept of what we were doing, or
Mhm.
we didn't know who we were. We were still developing that then,
Yeah.
and the beautiful thing was like we were canceling out people in our lives at the same time because that's what you did back then. You had so much shit flying at you, so many people coming in, especially at BG.
Yeah, man.
You had so many
BG
people
is
coming in, and all these things, but you gravitated towards these people for a reason.
yeah.
And the coolest thing was like we were trying to cancel out people by having them come through and have that conversation.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want anything to do with that shit.
Yeah,
Like
man.
you're the godfather to my children to this day.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I grew up with that probably would take offense to that or think I'm trying to act like I'm black or I want black people in my family because of that. And the whole basis of it was, like you didn't have anybody when you moved to BG.
Yeah.
My parents were around the corner,
Yeah, man. That's the
so
place
like
to go, man.
Thanksgiving, we ate dinner at my house.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It is what it is. You took my mom to work when we didn't have fucking vehicles and shit. Like it was just true brotherhood shit that wasn't defined by canceling each other out,
Yeah.
or trying to find a reason to box each other in
Mhm.
to get us to a point where we can mentalize these
Yeah.
motherfuckers in your head.
Using them big words. Using big words.
I'm trying to not hear them,
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
but
I can see them kind of in and out of the background.
yeah, I can't even do it right
Compartmentalized.
now.
Yeah.
Compartmentalize, these people. And it got to a point, man, to where you just realize that these are just people, like I found it that, it's like finding out your friend is vegan and you're like, well, I thought he was in a gang. Why is he health conscious?
Yeah. Yeah, man. And I get
Like
it,
you
man.
put stereotypes on shit. And I was the biggest one in my eyes that really got, carpal tunnelized,
Compartmentalized.
computerized. That's
We'll
something
get
you know,
that
yeah.
word down sooner or later.
And I talked to Mexicans in prison.
Yeah.
I got a rash, man. But it gets to a point, man, to where, like that's cancel culture
Yeah.
in its finest. because we invited the energy.
Yeah.
But when you think back though, while we're still here doing this, it's because we wouldn't accept it for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That brotherhood lasted, that love lasted way longer than that bullshit.
Yeah, man.
You know, you
That's the
refuse
key,
to be
man.
canceled, but who are you really looking at as far as a an audience?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really want these motherfuckers to worship you on some J. Cole shit? No, you just want to fucking live. You want to be present
Yeah.
around your people.
That is the ultimate goal of everything. And I think that's what is obviously missing in most of cancel culture is more of people trying to fit everybody into a box that fits what they want to look like.
Yeah.
So instead of being like, oh yeah, you're different, you think differently, you have tendencies I don't like, I want you to fit in this box that I think you should be like, that I think uh, a leader should be. So if you are a business leader and I
Yeah.
think you should look like this, but you say the wrong thing, oh, you're not in the box I want. That's
Right.
I think that's why, and this is the honest truth, that is part of the reason why Trump got so big. Because people wanted somebody who was like, he wasn't in that box of say the right thing all the time. It may not have been the most coherent things he said, but he at least said what was on his mind. And people
Yeah.
like that. People like, fuck it, say what you got to say. But at the same time, like, he wasn't in a box and no one put him in a box. So I think that's what we have to stop doing to people. If you're different and you think differently, you may not like this person, that person. So what? That
Yeah.
happens. That's life. That's how life is. And how we talked about race, a lot of that is where you're from. Like if you grow up in a certain region around a certain amount of people, same thing we said before, you become that kind of race. You
Yeah.
become more like that. And that's kind of
Yeah.
where it comes. It's not so much of, oh, that's like the white guy growing up in inner city
It's
New
Malibu's
York
most wanted.
or Chicago or blah blah blah, wherever they may grow up around a bunch of black people. And everybody's like, man, he ex-black. It's like, well, he only grew up around. That's all he grew up around. That's all he knew. It's like the black dude who grew up in extra Beverly Hills white rich people areas,
Right.
and they're like, oh, he's very white. Well, he's not very white. He just grew
Yeah.
up around white people.
It's like Tiger Woods, like, and the racial draft. Like Tiger Woods, man. Tiger Woods is one of those dudes he's so misunderstood.
Yeah,
Like there's so like Michael Jackson.
it was tough. It's tough because you grow
So
up differently, man.
misunderstood. Yeah.
And you grow up in that environment, and you have to become what they want you to. And Tiger was
I
the
mean,
biggest culprit of this. They wanted him to be
the
something
yeah,
that he didn't
exactly.
want
The
to be.
biggest misquote in the world is "fake it till you make it."
Yeah,
That's the biggest misquote in the
that's the
world.
worst thing ever to do in your life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So anybody out there,
Because
don't fake it till you make it, man. Just
yeah,
be you and make it on your own. Do your own thing.
because I mean, at the end of the day, cancel culture, you're put like Will Smith said,
Mhm.
you're putting that brick every day. You're trying to build that wall,
Yeah.
and trying to build that house eventually. But you're laying trying to lay that brick as perfectly as you can every day. But if you're laying a fake brick
Mhm.
for a fake wall, for a fake house, you're building your structure, your roots around
Mhm.
some cancel shit before it even becomes a reality.
Yeah, man. That's true.
And it's going to crumble. And look at
That's how it all
America.
works.
And look what America's doing right now.
That is how it all works. And I think, man, this country has, as far as we think we've come, we haven't come far enough.
That's right.
And you could tell today, everybody's like, well, this is American, or this is not American. That's the biggest thing. I heard Charlemagne the God say today he was doing something, and he cut off when President Biden said, that's not American about something. And he said, stop there. That's the first lie he told right there in the speech. The first thing a lot of people say, especially politicians, well, this isn't America when they see an unarmed black man get arrested, or
So
somebody
what is
shoot up,
America?
or
Go if
somebody
you're
shoot
in
up a mall, or
yeah.
somebody do this, or somebody took a gun
Yeah.
and shoot up the Asian spas because they feel they're sexually oppressed, or they go to high school, kill kids. That is America because it happened in America, and it's happened over and over again. There's been gun shootings over and over again. Same thing with cancel culture. We can say, well, it's
Mass
un-American.
murderers.
It's un-American to cancel each other. Wait, what are you talking about? That's what America's always done forever. For the history of America, it's always been about canceling another culture and putting them in a box so that you can cancel them.
Yeah.
So like you put the original Americans here, you came over to this land, put them in a box, say you're all savages. you didn't get to know them. You said, "Oh, they're savages. They live like this." Yeah, not understanding that maybe you're the savage because you're coming over here. You're different. You're weird,
I
right?
mean,
But you didn't want to get along. You didn't want to go step to them and say, "Hey, let's talk. Let's be friends. Let's make this work." Instead,
you wanted them to get like me,
yeah,
Christianity.
same thing you did. You went to Africa, got the Africans, and said, "Hey, well, we got something better for you. Here's Christianity," and we'll do a discussion on
Yeah,
Christianity, definitely. But here's Christianity. Here's this. Here's what you have to be. And if you don't conform, we're gonna take the biggest black motherfucker in your group. We're gonna kill him, so we can scare the rest of you guys for the rest of your
yeah,
lives. And we take it's basically like if you have a group of black people and I'm the 6'1" tallest guy in the group, and they're like, "Who do we fuck up in this group first? Fuck up the
yeah.
biggest one because we make the biggest one look weak." The rest of them will be like, "Oh shit, we can't do nothing." So that's kind of they put people in a box. They scared you, and they basically scared you enough to make you be slave. Even though probably in the South, plantation owners had what 50 to 100 acres of land, 100 slaves, and 3 white people. It's like, yo, how come you wasn't able to take them over? But I think the problem was you got tricked in your mind to think that you were too weak to do it,
Yes.
even though you had the numbers where you may have lost 3 or 4 people, but you would have got to them eventually. And once you got to them, it's over.
Well, what's
And
gonna happen to your wife that works in the house?
that's the thing you think about. Like, I took your
You
wife,
know, I mean,
and I took your wife, and now I'm having sex with your wife. And there's so much stuff that was going on in the world that,
yeah.
and they tried it. Even you look at today's,
That onion is thick as a motherfucker.
yeah, man. So
Mm.
like what I watched was, if you watch normal commercials today, every other commercial that has a family, if you ever realize it, it used to be, I think in the 90s,
Oh,
they
of
tried this
course.
first. It was a black man with a white woman in the 90s. It was
Yes.
like, let's
Yes.
sell this. Why do that? Because they're trying to get rid of
It
that.
started with juicy fruit commercials.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of black woman. They're like, well, if we get rid of black
Yeah.
woman,
Yes.
then the black man's not gonna be strong. Oh, then they realize, like, wait, black women are strong and they're very powerful. Let's switch it
Hmm.
up. Let's make it a white man with the black woman. I'm
Yeah.
not against it. Yo, that's cool. You like who you like, but that is what the media is trying to push. They're trying to say you can get rid of this other black man because that's the whole goal, to cancel the black man out because there's a threat there. There's something that threatens white people. Like D.L. Hughley said,
It's the long hug.
yeah, like D.L. Hughley said, the worst place that white person could be about black people is in their mind. In their
I mean,
mind, they think,
Bill Maher said it best,
yeah,
in my opinion.
uh,
Bill Maher said, "Why wouldn't white men be mad right now? You got these guys coming in like we didn't go and get them."
yeah,
You know, he said they dance better than us, and that's all in personal opinion.
yeah,
But you know, they sing better, they play sports better, their dicks are way bigger. When in American history, recorded history,
mm-hmm.
real recorded history, has the white man really had to worry about another race coming in and being better at a lot of things?
Yeah, yeah,
And it's been forever because that's why this shit started in the first place. Come
yeah,
on, GT.
yeah, man. You
They've been
can,
canceling it before it fucking happened.
oh, before everything happened, like they went through, and it's weird because
And it's
they
not the
bred
white
it.
people because it's just been happening to every
Oh,
culture.
every culture
Every
throughout the world.
victor in history has done this. And I'm not trying to desensitize anything. All I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to say is this shit's so goddamn deep. Cancel
Yeah,
culture is the way of our planet.
yeah, that's just the planet we live in, man. That has always
That's
been
right.
there from probably day one when you had quote unquote cavemen, the first man,
Adam and
first
Eve.
woman. They cancel. Yeah,
You gonna cancel eternity?
we're gonna go through that. We're gonna go through the biblical version. Yes,
Yeah.
Adam and Eve, they cancel each other, and all those
And you
things were
know,
going
and to
on.
be honest, when my daughter died last year, my
Mhm.
baby, right? My boss, you know, I was trying to find somebody because my dad is deceased. You know, he's my boss, man, so I'm around him all the time. I was trying to find somebody to give me some kind of direction,
Mhm.
you know. So, and obviously he was there with me every day, and I had, you know, he knew this my situation,
Yeah,
and he had told me, man, he said, you know, Chris, the best you can do is do what's within your control, and even with the kids that you still have right now, Carter and
yeah,
Kennedy becoming teens, do the best you can. And he said, leave the rest to God. You know, because
good
he's like,
lessons,
man,
man.
like, you know, he's like, what else can you do? You're gonna drive
Mhm.
yourself nuts. You're gonna
Yeah.
end up who's driving the ship?
That's true.
Who's I mean, who's controlling it,
There's
man?
not too
Like,
much you can do. There's
yeah, if you fall off, the whole thing becomes unraveled, you know, and to be honest, that's the greatest advice you could ever receive, but that's also the same advice that has gotten us to where we are,
yeah.
you know, and to be honest, it's shitty that it's so ridiculously shitty to put
Mhm.
it in today's terms.
Yeah.
It's basically it's not on fleek.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, it's to the point, man, to where
Don't sound
GP.
like an old ass man. Like, can't be doing that.
That's coming from Long Hog.
Yeah.
But you know, it's to the point, man, to where you know you take it where you can get it, but at the same time, like it's so goddamn ridiculous that
Mhm.
you know you have to take it. I've taken from different sources at different
Mhm.
sources of my life, right?
Yeah.
Different stages. And I've always gotten to the point, man, to where I've always thought, you know, like I'm willing to learn from anybody at any given time.
Yeah.
You know, like my mind's so open to where it
Mhm.
can't be closed because they're trying to close me in, box me out. You know, you get to the point, man, to where you're like overly crazy about it, and you start going through these orations in your brain,
Mhm.
and you never live in the fucking moment.
Yeah.
When you get older, as time passes, as experiences happen,
Mhm.
you know, like you could take it from a movie, you could take it from a song, you could take it from an app
Yeah.
nowadays, you could take it from anything, you could take it from walking your dog.
Mhm.
Lessons are everywhere,
Yeah.
you know, and but I think the biggest part nowadays is everybody always feels like they have to be included in something. And some women do it in having like Tupperware parties,
Yeah.
and other men do it in having like KKK rallies, you know, and then other blacks do it
Mhm.
and whatever.
Yeah.
And some Mexicans do it and whatever. And Native Americans don't have a voice. But, you know, at the same time, man, it's just one of those things that, you know, a lot of it is inclusion,
Mhm.
but it's conquer and destroy,
Yeah.
destroy and conquer.
That's all it's always been. It's always been
And that's
the
that
the
cancel
victor gets to
culture.
choose everything. The victor gets
Yes.
to
If you
decide
can't beat them,
what matters.
join them, right?
Yeah. Like I said, like we talked about last week when I talked about the Carthaginians, Carthaginians and the Romans when they fought, like they canceled them out. Like
Yeah.
even the great African king, I want to say Mali. I have to look it up again, but that dynasty, same thing. They canceled it out. Like no one even talks about this great African warrior who actually built ships. That tribe built ships that made all the way to the Americas. So like even before black people getting taken to America, there were already black cultures here. That's where you start seeing people like yourself who have Native American roots have a lot of black in them because
Yes.
of that generation that came before, even way before the slave trade was happening. They found a way
Yeah.
over with that, and that's never talked about in America. So that's why there are some Americans who have those roots that deep, and whether
Yeah.
North, South America, anywhere. So man, like the cancel culture is strong, and I think the one thing with America is we try not to talk about everything we can talk about. We try to only talk about things that make us feel good as a country. And what I mean by that is when we talk about wars, when we talk about other cultures, anything we've done in America, we always talk about from one side. Like when we talk about the Civil War, it's always talked about like, well, it united America, but it really didn't. The war wasn't fought for end of slavery or anything else. The war was fought just to keep the Union together.
Yeah.
Like in Lincoln's own record of saying, like, if I could have fought this war without having to free the slaves, I would have done it. It wasn't an issue. If he could have kept the Union together without that, it wouldn't have been an issue. But because so many people in the North were like, yo, you got to do something different, it became that. It became something new. And so there's so much history in America that's always kept out of books because to make somebody see the weakness in one of their heroes is bad. Like,
Right. Right.
no one wants to hear that. So if I can cancel out my hero's biggest faults or this great American's history and say, oh, let's not cancel that. Like my sister, the oldest one, she went to UVA. Who created UVA? Thomas Jefferson. Who built UVA? The African slaves who he owned and had them build a college. So I get that when Charlottesville happened and like my sister and all her friends were like, man, this is awful. Because like they're already at a university where they already feel like, man, we're here at this college built by some of our ancestors. And on top of
Yeah.
that, we got this culture coming in here saying Jews will not replace us. You will not replace. They're going through being very racist about everything, basically saying like somebody's trying to replace you. We're not trying to replace you, white supremacists. We want the equal opportunities to be successful, like you guys are on the same starting line as you guys are. That's all everybody wants.
I don't think after what, I think most of this new culture America and even some of the older, I think that's the main thing. But I think, in this day and age, they finally seen, through the media shit that, like what's really happening.
Yeah.
And they still deny it.
Oh, because it's easy.
But
It's
it,
easy
but
to
it has
deny
a
the truth
thank
than
you.
actually deal with it.
Yes.
And so yeah, like you said, like white males who are threatened, or white people or
They
black
feel
people
threatened.
who feel threatened by another race, instead of saying, hey, how do I just live my life and not worry about them? Let them do what they gotta
Right.
do. No, let's make it seem like they're taking over my country. You're
I
taking
mean,
it over.
I'm not worried about black people coming and taking my wife. I'm worried about Tarzan swinging in on a fucking rope with his
Yeah,
abs and his titties, taking my wife.
yeah,
Because how much swing and get it once he picks her up?
yeah. That's the
I
thing.
got the long arms, but I ain't got the strength to swing on limbs, dog. I
So
don't
yeah,
have it,
that is
GT.
true. That's true, man.
Saying
So,
Tarzan. Tarzan
but,
ain't.
but that's the biggest thing. I think so many people are afraid of something that they just want to be afraid of something. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to
Yeah.
say, oh, like we talked about Kevin Hart's situation. They forced this man to have to apologize for something that he said and said, look, I don't feel that way anymore. I don't have
As a
those
comedian.
same, I don't have those same ideas anymore because
Yes.
you know what? I just don't have them. It's not
Yes.
there. And they're
Yes.
like, well, you got to apologize. Well, yeah, I'm still a comedian. That's why Dave Chappelle is the best at it.
Didn't do
Like,
it. He didn't do it.
I'm not going to apologize.
I'm not gonna apologize for it. No.
Dave Chappelle's like, I'm here. I'm going to say what I got to say, and you
Yep.
deal with it. And if you want to deal with it,
And if
oh
you
well.
don't watch my show.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that should be the case going forward. I think that should be what we do more of, and not you apologize once, you have to go back over it again. Like
Yes.
the girl who lost her job at Teen Vogue, she apologized for that shit years ago, and they're like, well, she should never got hired, never get another job again. It's like, what do you want a 17-year-old kid to do? 17-year-old kids say stupid shit. That's why they're 17. They haven't got the grown-up mind yet. They're still little kids. And yes, it was very dumb. Yes, it was very anti-Asian. And
It
this
was naive.
It was naive. It was dumb. She didn't understand. She was first time probably being not the smartest kid
Yes.
in a classroom ever.
But this is the thing.
Yeah.
As a 17-year-old saying it, it should be offensive to other 17-year-olds in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
Not to grown fucking adults to where it's going to cancel your own culture as far as your career moving fucking forward in your life.
And that's what I'm saying. She's 27, 28 now. It's like, what do you want her to do? Like,
right.
And so it's almost like, stop what you're doing. You can't survive. And that's kind of,
and that's why we had an episode on Richard Schmidt.
Yeah.
Because
we're not different. Get rid of him. We're saying, look,
right.
This is what he did. I would love when he gets out of jail from to be able.
We were mad because that shit wasn't publicized the way that this shit is.
Yeah, we're okay with him. What he did was not okay, but I would love to have him on the podcast and ask him those questions to be like, hey, what were you thinking? Yeah. Why did you have that much ammunition? Why did you have the idea of killing these black leaders and Jewish?
I mean, I knew the jersey wasn't real. I bought it anyway.
I'm sure we all bought like hats and stuff from this store. Like, this ain't real, but it was what it was. So I think,
yeah.
But that is one of those things where we're not canceling him. We're not saying he should never be. Wow, we got family members all over the place, but we're not saying this is gonna be funny. You gotta understand. But this is gonna be on YouTube too for the family here. But yeah, we're not saying.
GT said hi, Mom.
We're not saying Richard Schmidt should be canceled at all. No. We're saying, look, he was doing foul stuff. It should have been talked about nationwide where everybody knew. And then we'll have him on the podcast. We ask some questions. We'll talk about it. And so we're not canceling anybody. We don't care about that. I will never cancel anybody I know. I may not deal with you. Like
I might not fuck with you.
Yeah, like comment said, if I don't like it, I don't like it. I don't mean I'm hating.
I cancel you out before I even meet your ass.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I don't I don't want to be a.
If
I
I
don't
don't
want
like
to
it, I don't
cancel.
like it. That don't mean that I'm hating.
Yeah, that's the
I don't
comment,
have
man.
to.
I don't have to be there. My grandfather used to say, if you can live in it, I can live out of it.
Hmm.
Those are sayings that come up that it's
Yep.
okay. You can be
And it
different.
pertains to the same shit.
Yeah. You cancel all day. You can do everything you want. But in the end of the day, man, we have to get past this. We have to get past this idea that somebody has to be like me in order to be perfect. And to be like me is no one's perfect. There has not been a person, and if you go by biblical sense, only Jesus Christ is perfect. Other than that, if you go by other sense, you go by Buddha, whatever you may believe in, you go by the Quran, you go by Muhammad, all these people are perfect in their books, in their Christian, in their religion. So no matter what it is, no one's
The
perfect in this world.
drive.
No
The
one's done
drive
it.
to be like.
Yeah. Your drive should
Why
be,
worship somebody that you already think you are?
yeah, be the best you can. Be
That
who you
perfect
can be.
shit, and that's all it is. You should only really, when you get to the point, I think, adulthood
Mhm.
for me, when I got to that point, man, was when I realized that I'm not fighting nobody else but my goddamn self. And that's all it was. And after
Yeah.
that point, and that shit happened very early, thank God.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that was the ultimate challenge for me to realize that, you know what? Yeah, this guy, he drives a nicer car than me. I don't even have my license, DUIs, BG. Shit like that. You get to the point where I can't get that girl, man, because I can't even drive her to the movie theater. Blah blah blah. I mean, and I realized that, like, I'm looking at these guys like, well, he has it, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't. That's my fault.
Mhm.
You get to a point where you're like, okay, it's my fault that I'm in my position.
Yeah.
It's not the black man's fault. It's not Muhammad's fault. It's not
It's not Jesus'
Allah.
fault.
It's
It's not
not.
anybody's
It's
fault.
no one's fault. Stop.
Like you can pray all you want and say, "Oh, why didn't you give me
Thank
this?"
you.
But
Yes.
look, you got the tools.
Get
Everybody's
over your goddamn self. Make fun of yourself first, and
yeah,
then make fun of other people. Then it's funny.
yeah. Everybody has the same tools. Everybody
Dave Chappelle.
has
Chappelle
the
show.
same start.
Yes.
We have the same start. We have the same tools. So different races have different starts. We all know that. But at the end of the day, your tools are your tools.
Yeah.
And if you're great at writing or drawing, guess what? Talent rises to the top. The
That's
cream
the
always
truth.
rises to the top. The best of the best always come out no matter
Yeah.
what you do.
Yep.
And if you're great at what you do, you're gonna figure it out. Like if you want to be the greatest writer, the greatest orator, the greatest
Storyteller.
YouTuber, story,
Yeah.
whatever you want to be, you're
Yeah.
always gonna rise to the top. It
Yeah.
may not be the traditional route of I came in some money, my family was great. We just kind of worked up that way. It may be one of those things where you have to work your ass off to get there. And like I said, one of the things, and starting this podcast with you, and now moving it over to YouTube is based on the fact that yes, I always thought I had to be perfect at everything, and so I didn't want to put stuff out, and so I canceled myself in my
It
mind
holds you
of
back.
doing things back to hold myself back. So
Yeah.
I cancel all my ambition to be like, fuck it, let's put this out, see what happens.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, hey, if it's not great, cool.
Play some
In
music.
the end of the day, I have me and you to look at this and be like, okay, we made something. We created something that's for us. And if we end up having more people on there, cool. But I could have went the next 30, 40 years, canceling myself on things, simple things like this, pick up a camera, recording myself, and then been done. So, so yeah, and all I'm saying is cancel culture is everywhere. Anybody listen to this, it's not a one-stop shop. It's not just.
Yeah. Love you, man.
All right. Bye. See you guys.
See you, buddy.
So yes, that was
Bye, GT.
that was Chris's family. They're leaving the podcast room and they're actually going. But yeah, like I was saying, we cancel our own selves all the time in our minds. Every day we wake up and we cancel ourselves day to day because we're afraid to take chances.
Yeah.
So when we always say like cancel culture just is, oh, I cancel you, you can cancel yourself. You can trick yourself every day to not do something great today, to not take a chance in life, to not that business you want to start. Like everybody in this pandemic, instead of complaining and be like, oh, I can't go outside, I got to wear a mask. Oh my gosh. They could have created a business. They could take opportunities. They could have wrote a book. They could have read books. They could have worked out more. They
You
could
could have
so
done like
shit.
GT and cry me a river.
Could have done also. You could
Oh.
get so much stuff. This was a time when the world sat still.
Mm-hmm.
And like they said, if you want to take your chance to hear God speak, whoever speak to you, you believe in, when you're still, you can hear it better. And everybody had a chance to be still. And what people did was the exact opposite of be still. They got antsy and started going on YouTube and cancel culture. I hate this. Or the world is bad. President.
I
Trump
need
is
someone
bad,
to blame because I can't get a loan because the credit's fucked up and I need somebody to blame.
But you had a chance. So now what we've done is said, hey, instead of canceling myself, my opportunities to grow, let me do something. Whether it be great, whether it be just crappy.
Let's expand it.
We're doing something different. We're taking our chances. We're putting it out there and saying, hey, what could we be? So yeah, stop canceling yourself, people, man. Stop canceling other people and enjoy life.
Stop trying to.
Yeah.
Because you're only canceling yourself.
So yeah, man. This was interesting, man. I don't know where else you want to go. Anything else you want to bring up on this? I guess
I'm gonna go back to the beer after this. I ain't going anywhere else.
So everybody, thank you. I know we haven't had a lot of people join on Twitch yet, but this is our first one. We'll get the news out more. Those of you listening on podcast, thank you for listening. Don't cancel yourself. Keep listening. Everybody keep listening, keep paying attention. We're going to put more stuff out. We're going to get better at this. We're going to have better design stuff. We're going to figure this out. It takes a little time being new people to this platform of everything. Also, this will be uploaded on YouTube on Tuesday also, the full video with some edits for some swear words on there as we have to. But other than that, man, this is going to be great. Thank you for rocking with us. Scalf, my brother, it's been a pleasure as usual.
All day.
Brother. Peace.
Peace.